So I can see here that some more people have joined us. Welcome to those who just joined. And I think that we are able to start now. So without further ado, I'm not stealing any more time, and I'll leave you to our panelists for their presentation. So thank you for being here and enjoy. See you in a bit.
Bonjour, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I hope you will get to enjoy the sunflowers behind me and the plants and maybe a bit of a heart behind my colleague Anjuli. It's actually really cold in Paris right now. We are having a really long winter, so I'm putting some sunflowers to welcome the soon to come summer. Bienvenue au cours de civilisation française de la Sorbonne. So this is a really quick overview of the different points we're going to go over today. First of all, because it's important for you to know who you're talking to, who you're listening to, maybe, we're going to talk about the CCFS for a bit, just to understand who we are. Then we'll dive into the importance of learning French in 2024, because yes, it is important to learn French. And maybe it would make sense to then keep going with how to learn French with the CCFS. And then, as it was mentioned before, we will have a Q&R session. So who are we? Who are the CCFS? So it's Cours de Civilisation Française de la Sorbonne. But now you're part of the community. So instead of saying this really, really long name and hard to pronounce depending on your French level, you can say CCFS. It's quicker and it's easier to remember. So a few things about the CCFS DNA. The CCFS DNA is a French higher education establishment. We are based in Paris in the 7th arrondissement. Maybe you've already been to Paris, so it's in the heart of the city, close to the Assemblée Nationale, close to the Invalides, close to the Musée d'Orsay, for example. These are examples, not too far from the Eiffel Tower. We are a French as a foreign language institution, so we are specialized in French as a foreign language. Just a quick thing about French higher education establishment is that's probably one of the main difference with a lot of different schools, language schools that you will find in Paris, that we're not a school, we are a higher education establishment. And we have the Sorbonne name because we were born in the Sorbonne in 1919. A long time ago. So we are, just to make it clear, we're not the Sorbonne University, which should be said, we should say actually Sorbonne universities, because there's a few of them, because we were born there and then, you know, in more than a century, things can change. But we are historically and institutionally linked to Parisian public university, and Sorbonne universities being some of them. So because we are a French higher education establishment, we work on a university calendar with semester courses. The full semester starting in September, ending in December, the spring semester starting in January and ending in May. And then we have the summer courses, June, July, and August, with the possibility of doing 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months, depending on how long you want to stay in Paris and the number of hours you want to dedicate to French language. As I mentioned before, we have strong connections to French universities and higher education establishment. We'll explain why when we dive into the courses. We offer courses from the A1 level to the C1, C2 level, and we're also an exam center for the TCF, DELF, DALF exams. Maybe you've already heard of it. So whenever you're in Paris or at the CCFS, you can also take these exams with us. So now, about the importance of learning French in 2024. Today, we will explore why learning French is not just beneficial, but essential in 2024, highlighting the professional, cultural, and technological benefits. It's true that as we look forward to 2024, now we're already in April, the global spotlight will be on the Francophone world, specifically with the Paris Olympics. I'm pretty sure that you already heard of the Paris Olympics, that the Olympics are happening in Paris. It's getting crazy here, so we can't really miss it. This event and others like this underscore the growing importance of French on the global stage. So French, let's talk about French in the world. So French is not spoken only in France. Maybe you already know that. Depending on where you are on the world, you might have been to countries where you can use French because it's an official language, or maybe because it's a spoken language there. So French is more than just the language of France. It's an official language in 29 countries spread across 5 different continents, which makes it a critical tool for international relations and cultural exchange. So it's also a linguistic bridge with over 275 million speakers worldwide. French is a linguistic bridge in international forums, including the United Nations, where it's one of the 6 official languages. So it's not nothing, I would say. So about the professional advantages of speaking French. First of all, it's the advantage would be in the international job market. Proficiency in French can open doors in international businesses, in diplomacy, in organizations such as UNESCO, NATO, the International Red Cross, where multilingual communication is absolutely key. It also opens up careers opportunities from diplomacy to international law. The ability to communicate in French can significantly boost your career opportunities, especially in African and European markets. There's also some cultural and academic benefits. Sorry, we had an intruder. About like French literature and cinema offer unparalleled access to centuries of cultural heritage. Maybe, for example, it will ring a bell, but think of the existential works of Jean-Paul Sartre, or the pioneering films of the French New Wave cinema that have influenced countless artists in the entire world. It's also important in education and research. French is actually important in academia. Accessing original texts in philosophy, literature, and science can open up new dimensions of understanding. I don't know if we have some researchers here, if we have some students, PhD students, master's degree students writing paper, dissertations, so that depending on your field, of course, learning the language can really help you dive into the research. Moreover, France has a leading role in scientific research and higher education. Sorry, I'm going to start that one again. France's leading role in scientific research and higher education can enhance one's academic and research career. So what about learning French today? So of course, there's plenty of learning resources. Learning French has never been easier, thanks to technological advancements. For example, apps like Duolingo provide like bite-sized lessons, while platforms like Learn French with CCFS offer a self-paced preparation for the French official exam. such as DELF, not such as, but the official exam DELF, DALF, TCF, all from your own device, from your home, your own phone or like tablet or computer. So that's one possibility, one way to learn the language, but it's of course not only the only, it's not the only one, because I think it's my opinion, but then you can think whatever you want, but there's no better way of learning a language than face-to-face classes, preferably in the country where the language is spoken. So that's exactly where the CCFS will be the right place to be.
Okay, so how to learn French with CCFS? So first of all, we have to know that we are totally different of the other institutions, like Violaine says, because we help the students to go through the next step, that is to go to the university. We prepare all the students to go to the university. It's because of that all our program is have three important access, like is conference, phonetics, and obviously the grammar, phonetic, we call the practical courses. So it's because sorry, okay, I will pause a little bit more. So that I repeat again, I say that we make the difference between the other institution or the other department or the other schools or to teach French is because we help the students to the different project that they have to go, they want to go to the university. We help the students because all our programs has different, the programs has a different option, and we help the students in the order with phonetic conference, and also we have the courses, the practical courses, like I say. To choose a program in our institution, we help with the different goals. So to access in our institution, you can start a program. Even if you are totally beginner, you can start with us. You don't need any level to start with us. You can apply to the A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2 level. So we have different programs in general French that they go from A1 to C1 or C2 level. We have a specific French, business French program, but you need B1, the level we want. We have also some French based on university goals, academic certificates, and master's degree preparatory course also. So we have several programs with general French. Our offers go through semesters, annual or summer too. The semester programs is always every probably 12 weeks. The annual program 24 weeks. And the summer is 4 or 12 weeks. It depends if you choose 1, 2, or 3 months. In the semester, we have different programs. If you need an intensive program in French, you have the EAST 40. You have 25 hours per week. The EAST 20, you have the general French. You have general French plus cultural lectures. It will be already 20 hours per week also. And we have the EAST 35, and there we have the general French, the culture, and we have speaking, writing, and writing reporting. That is also 20 hours per week. In the annual program, we have the AM2 programs. It will be an intensive programs and the general program too. There are fall semester and spring semester that will be both 2 EAST 20 or 2 EAST 35. In the summer, we have, like I said before, June, July, and August. We have general French that is almost 12 hours and a half per week. And you have also the option, the cultural lectures, and it will be 20 hours per week too. We also have intensive French in summer. If you will have 25 hours the courses per week. We have also general French online. It's by month, so you have 4 weeks. General French and phonetic. Also, we teach French and phonetic also by our courses online. And you have the option, the oral expression option too, 4 hours per week. So if you cannot be here on place, you can follow us, follow our courses online. We have also business French. You will need to be B1 to apply to this program. So you have this offer is available on semester and fall and spring. Is business French and phonetic, those cultural lectures, and you have 20 hours per week. And also we have summer, donc July. In July you have business French. You have 45 hours per over 3 weeks. So that makes the difference between the other institution is that we have the French based on university goals. So you have academic certificates, the annual. So we have some partenariat with Université Sorbonne Paris Nord. We have USA, we have Sud Deluxe, and also EPF. So there are some equivalents of the first year of bachelor in literature or history. And USA, we have preparatory course, art, market, and cultural production. We have advanced certificate, business, French, and literature. And the last one we have with the EPF, we have intensive French annual program too. So for every program, you need one intermediate level to apply because you need some basis to follow all the classes. For the students that want to do a master here in France, we can help with a program that is master's preparatory course. So the students who follow this program can learn a lot of things about university methodology, French language, master degree application, all things that are around CV, motivation letter, and research project writing. Because here in France, as I think on other universities, you have to apply with a CV, with a motivation letter, and at the end of your master, you have to make a research project writing. So if you start with this program here, you can start your project already before to go to the university. If there are one option that is you can follow one internship with us. We can help students to find internship, and we follow or we make the follow-up. So for this program, you have to be B2. So our calendar 24, it's here. So we have, like my colleague said before, summer session, annual session, fall session, spring session, and summer session for the 25. So there are here our calendar and the dates to apply and to follow our course. So thank you so much for your attention. So right now we can start with the question.
We're all ears.
Hello again, everyone. Thank you so much for your presentation and for sharing their insights to our panelists. So I see here that we already have some questions, and I also want to remind everyone that there's still plenty of time to ask questions. So if you want to know something specifically, please type all of your questions here in the Q&A box and we will read them. So I'd say let's start with the first one, shall we? So the first question that was asked is, bonjour, what are the costs and what do they cover? For example, is accommodation included?
Okay. It depends on the program. If you want a semester program or annual or semester program.
The prices.
The prices, yes, it depends. So we can, the summer, the program can start 900 euros and the annual program is 6,500 euros. The prices doesn't include the accommodation, but we have this option too. We have the students, if they need accommodation, we can propose different programs with a host family is the most common and the most important, or the most important, or the most yes, the most important, or the most
It's the best.
The best, yes. The best for the students.
Just the best for students
Yes.
who want to, just for students who really want to immerse themselves in the language and to learn really fast and to learn about the culture, the way of life, to have great resources at home about everything about living in France. That's probably the best. And at least, even if I understand that some students are kind of reluctant because they feel like they're not going to have a private life, or they're not going to be able to do whatever they want. It's not really true, because you're still like grown-ups. So you will have rules, of course, because that's just about like being respectful. But you can do your life as well. You can live your life in Paris. And also it can be a good, it can be only part of your stay. You can start with a host family for a couple months to get settled, to learn about the language, the basics, and to kind of adapt a bit quicker, and then move to another type of housing. So that's just here, some tips from us, because we know that some students are like, no, I'm not leaving my family to be in another one. But it's actually a good idea, especially when you live in a foreign country.
Yeah, you need sometimes some help, and
Yeah.
it's nice to have someone that you can ask some question about the French life.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you both for your answers. We have some participants here that want to know if you offer both online courses and also face-to-face, because we also have a couple of questions in the chat and also in the Q&A box that ask, does CCFS offer online courses? And another question from Hilal is it online courses or face-to-face classes held in France?
We have both. For example, if the person is in Paris, it will be in our place on site, but they can follow also online. We have both options. If the person is in Paris, some persons are in Paris, and because of the time, because of their schedule, they follow online courses too. So they have the opportunity to follow in online or in on site.
Just to make it clear, we have face-to-face classes and online classes. These two are different classes, okay? You can't choose between like taking one course and deciding, oh, today I'll do it online, today I'll do it in class. Okay, so I went back to the slide about online courses. This is the online course that we offer. It's not our main courses, okay? It's an offer that we decided to keep going because we have some interest in it, but most of our courses are on site. Okay, so this slide during the presentation was about the online courses. All the other slides, the other courses are face-to-face on-site courses.
Thank you so much both for the clarification. We have another question from our spectators regarding actually doing the course in person, and this person, Walid, asks if CCFS also assists students in the visa process.
Yes, we help the students because it depends on the countries, but the most, I guess that almost all 90 countries have to pass by Campus France. So we help the students to make a follow up with the Campus France, and it's important to know that you have to make two steps. The first is in the Campus France, and the second one is in the embassy. We recommend to all the students to apply 4 months before starting classes, because the process is a little bit hard. So to be sure that you will be on time with all the process, we recommend 4 months. Apply 4 months before to start classes. For example, it's time right now to apply to the annual program, for example.
Shouldn't wait longer.
Yes.
You should start now.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. And we have several questions regarding the possibility to apply for a scholarship. So does CCFS offer scholarships for students?
Not yet. We are trying to work on, but like we are private, it's really hard to find it, because we have to look really. It's really hard to find a person or program or enterprise or different sponsorships to pay that. But we are working.
Yeah, but I would add that we managed to do it. For example, after the beginning of the war in Ukraine, we managed to create a scholarship for some Ukrainian people, like who arrived in France and needed to learn the language. Because I think we had about like 80 students in the spring last semester, or the year before. I think it was the year before.
Yeah,
confusing. It's going too fast for me. We're already in 2024. It's crazy. So we managed to do that, but it was a case by case thing. And we also welcome students with scholarships, for example, from embassies, but we do not provide like regularly as we wish we could do, but maybe we'll be able to do it, scholarships to students.
There are some scholarships, French scholarships, that you will be asked to come here. Eiffel, Boursiffel. There are some scholarships that French provide, and you can apply to these scholarships, and after apply with us by them using this scholarship.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your answer. So we have another question regarding the visa. So there's a spectator that asks how to participate in the program this summer. How much does it cost? What is included? And they specify that they're from Brazil. Do I need a visa, or can I go as a tourist?
I guess that in Brazil, the people have 90 days to come without any visa, like a tourist. And they can come without visa. In June, July, and August, in our summer programs, we don't ask any visa, because the program only, I don't know, it's just only 1 month, so we don't need any visa. And the price is 900 euros, the E10, I guess. So if 50 is, so there are phonetic courses, and there are also grammar courses. Well, with the practical courses, we work all the 5 competence. We work oral comprehension, oral expression, writing, reading, and interaction.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So if we could please circle back on the cost details, because there are a lot of participants that want to know about the cost of the courses. So maybe if we can also write them down in the chat for them to keep the reminder.
It's just that we have different programs, so it would be easier. We have a full, I mean, we can share. I don't dare like leaving the shared screen. Can you put Anjuli is sharing the catalog with all the prices. If the student wants to take a picture of it, or maybe they can receive it later after the webinar as well, if they make an appointment with us. So there's many ways to receive it, but at least they will have it on the screen. Just give us a second and then you will have everything. It's just complicated for us to give you one price without like listing a long, because we give the option, different options to students depending on their goals, depending on how many hours they're willing to dedicate to the language every day, depending on the budget they have, because everybody doesn't have the same budget. So yeah, we have different options. So it's easier if they can look at it on the screen rather than typing on the chat box.
Absolutely.
Je vais prendre la main.
Yes.
Il faut que j'arrête. Sorry.
In the meantime, while you look for the slides, I check in the chat here, and there are a lot of participants that would like to receive the program's prices by email. So I would like to remind everyone that after the presentation, you will receive email with the recording of the session so that you can watch it again. And so in case you can share your screen with the price tables, that will be useful for the participants to actually have it there so that they have the information. Here it is. And also you will receive all the important contact information in order to get in touch with CCFS. So don't worry, if you have specific questions, you can reach out to them and schedule a meeting or send in an email. So perfect, here you have it. And in the meantime, well, maybe we can keep it in the background so that everyone can have a look at that. We're gonna go over to the next question. So the question is, can anyone join CCFS, or do I need to have a certain level of French already?
As I say in our presentation, even if you are totally beginner, you can apply to any one of our programs. Only the preparatory classes and the university certificates need one level, B2 or B1, it depends. But the other program, annual program, semester program, and summer program, you can apply even if you don't have any level, any French level.
If you have a look at the catalog, it's written in small, so maybe you have to look really closely. But when a specific level is required, meaning that it's not open to every level, you have it here. I can show you because I'm not sharing the screen, but for example, tu peux entourer avec la souris. Here, here. If you look at the mouse that Angela is showing us here, and you can also see a small stamp. It's written visa. It means that these courses are eligible to a visa because they offer more than 20 hours a week, at least 20 hours a week, which is a requirement to get a student visa. So when you see the stamp visa, it means that you can choose this course and then apply to a visa with it. If you don't need a visa for any reason, you can choose any of them. If you need a student visa and if you count on the CCFS to get a student visa, you have to make sure that to check the courses with the stamp. And you also have, when there's no level specified, it means that it's open to every level. The first, the annual courses, semester courses, evening courses, summer courses, business courses, every level from A1 to C2. And the university certificates and preparatory classes are open to specific levels because they are the goals or the students' goals for these courses are a bit different. Online courses, we have only intermediate and advanced level.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your answer. So talking about the different types of visas, we also have a question here from Naira that asks, can I work in Paris while having the course?
Yes, students have 24 hours
Long term. For the long term.
If you have a visa, 1 year visa, you can work 24 hours per week or 790, I guess, per year.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So moving on to the next question. Giovanni asks, what makes CCFS different from other language schools?
That's a good question. Tu veux que je réponde? There's a few different things. First of all, we are really old. We were born in 1919, which is something, I guess. I would say, and it kind of proves like a really big experience in teaching French as a foreign language. We are higher compared to other schools. Most of the schools in Paris or in France, we are not a school. We are higher education establishment. It's in our DNA to prepare students to get into the university afterwards. If it's not your goal, it's completely fine as well. But it's a different atmosphere, I would say. We also emphasize the courses not only on the language, but also on the learning of phonetics, so articulation, pronunciation, and also on French civilization. For example, if you take a course that includes conferences, civilization conferences, you will have a full schedule for the entire week and the entire semester of civilization lectures. I can give you examples. It can be a course about gastronomy, it can be a course about habits and traditions in France, a course about art history in the Middle Ages, for example. It can be fashion in France. So everything is taught in French. I'm telling you in English, but it's actually, everything is actually in French. Yeah, and I think also something that you wouldn't be able to realize as being a student, but I think it's important to point at it, is that our professors here have been teaching at the CCFS for some of them are really new, but some of them has been with us for like 30 years, you know, or 20 years, 15 years, depending on their age, of course. So because the professors that we have are part of the institution, they're not like coming and going. They have like actual, like they're actual employees full time and long employees at the CCFS. So probably it'd be different from schools where you have only like short courses where like it's more a turnover of course of professors. Yeah, so with us you have to sign for a semester or a summer, but then you have probably you have a long-term pedagogy and long-term relationship with the professors and the other students. I hope it answers your question.
Thank you so much for your answer. And actually, we also have another question from Giovanni, and he asks, if I'm not sure about which course to enroll in, how can you guide me? Are there any assessment tests in order to enroll?
Well, so regarding your level, yes. Once you've registered to the CCFS, we send you like when we get closer to the start of the semester, of course, because we don't want you to take a test 6 months ahead of time, because sometimes the student takes language classes before arriving, so the level is not the same 6 months before the beginning of the course and 1 or 2 months before the beginning of the course. But regarding the level, we send you an online test to take at home to be placed in the right level. Regarding the fact and to help you choose which course would be more interesting for you, I think the best way is to make an appointment with one of us. You will receive an email after this webinar with links to make a Zoom or Teams appointment with us. And maybe depending on your personal goals, depending on your profile, depending on your own calendar, we can probably help you like pick the right course.
Great. Thank you so much for the answers. So we still have a couple of questions left. And the next question is, do you think it's best to study a language online or in person? Are the classes entirely taught in French, or do you switch between English and French?
Well, our teacher prefer to speak all time in French. But sometimes it's totally beginner. Obviously, the teacher will switch it sometimes in English or in Spanish sometimes. Well, what is better for me? Obviously, I'm from Colombia, so I studied for a long time in Colombia French language, and the difference when I have arrived here in France was totally different, because you cannot learn for me. You cannot learn a language correctly if you stay in your country. For me, the best option is to come from France, not only Paris, but to come in France and to stay in the contact of being in contact with the language. For me, is the best option to be on site.
Yeah, I was thinking of something and then I forgot. Oh my God. It's the end of the day. I don't know what time it is on your part of the world, but it's late here. In my head, at least.
Almost.
Oh yeah, no, I was going to say, I think the online courses should be a good option for students being beginners, because it's a good way for you not to arrive in France with no French at all. It's more comfortable to have a few basics, even it's not a lot. Sometimes it's required anyway. It's required anyway to take to have a specific level for the visa requirements. So you will have to take courses. It doesn't have to be online, because I'm sure there's some language institutes in your country, but it's a good first step with us, to start like maybe 1 month, even 1 month, just to be in contact with the professor, to learn about the pedagogy. So it's always a good idea to take online classes when there's no better option, but to us, it shouldn't be the entire way of learning the language.
So here you can find the online courses, the program, and so we have language and phonetic, and we have also oral expression. You can take one of them or both. It depends on you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your question, for your answer, sorry, and also for your questions to everyone that is asking. So moving on to the next question. The question is, are there any kind of activities that CCFS students do outside of class?
Yep.
Yeah, we have a lot of things to do here. So, for example, we have several workshops, thank you, and activities. For example, theater, dance, journalism, or cinema. And the students, for example, they follow the courses in the morning. The activities are at the end of the day to allow all the students to apply to enjoy the workshop.
Yeah. Then we also offer some meetings. We try to organize some workshops to make international students meet with French people. Yesterday we had a meeting between French students studying Chinese language and culture with Chinese students learning French with us. So I don't know if it was clear. So we had this meeting yesterday. For example, we did it with in the past with Japanese students. We want to do it with every languages and cultures. We're doing it step by step. We also have end of the year parties at the end of every semesters, and we're like currently organizing CCFS Got Talent. So to give a space to our artists and talented students and passionate students to present it during the end of the year party. And then we try some professor organize some cultural outings as well. They go to sometimes to museums, to theater plays, this kind of thing. So we have what we offer every semester, and then punctual things depending on the semester.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I also believe that this answer also answers another question that was asked, which is how does CCFS help students learn French quickly? But just to be sure, do you also offer some other activities in order to help students to learn the language more fluently and quickly?
It depends on the cases, but if there are some students that really have some difficulties, we propose some tutorial. I don't know how do you say that in English.
Tutorial? No.
Tutorial?
Mentoring?
Mentoring? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm tired. So some mentoring, and they are free. So if the students need that they want to follow those kind of mentoring, they can.
The workshops that Anjali talked about earlier are all in French. So the idea for you is not to be in class, to learn something that you're interested in, like more like artistic skill by being immersed in French language. Okay, so that's the type of things we organize for students to practice French out of class.
Great, thank you so much. So moving on to the next question, we have one participant that asks, what are the companies you work with for the internship opportunities?
It depends. It depends on the students, because some students want to make or to follow the master in education, and the most common is in education. So we have different universities Normally we have that, but it depends on the project of every student. But we try to help them to follow and to looking for a scholarship with an enterprise or with a partner who helps them to follow in their project of the students. For example, engineering, all of those kind of things. For the moment, we don't have one name, but we can find it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your answer. So we have one specific question by Walid, and he said, if we choose AN40, which is I suppose is the general French course, do we have to pay all fees in advance or per semester?
You have to pay at the beginning to the registration. You have to pay 80%, and 1 month before the courses, you have to pay the rest amount.
Okay, thank you so much. So
I just want to add that we ask for the deposit because we kind of we are responsible of giving a registration certificate that will help you apply to the visa. So we have to make sure that there's some commitment from the students. That's the reason why we ask for it. We had in the past a lot of students asking for a registration certificate, and then just they get the visa and they disappear, which is not it's not legal anyway, and we had to make sure that we had a sort of commitment from the students.
absolutely makes sense. So we have two questions left, and one of the question is by Muhammad, and he actually wants a collaboration because he says, can we have a partnership as an educational consultant from Pakistan? We have multiple candidates interested in the French language.
Yeah, I don't see why. We have a lot of partners in every country, like talking about the school, and we have different types of partnerships. So we'll be happy to connect.
And also, I would like to remind Mohammed that after this webinar, you will receive an email with all of the contacts to get in touch with CCFS. So don't worry, you can send them an email or get in touch with them by organizing a meeting. And so moving on to the last question. The question is, in what ways does CCFS provide personalized attention to students, and how does this contribute to achieving significant learning outcomes?
I think that we have one important thing that is all our classes is in a small groups. We don't have more than 15 students in a class. And our teacher always try to follow the evolution of every student. And I think that the program on our methodology is adapted to all kind of learning also, because we have different methodology and they can be useful for different kind of learning, because we don't learn in the same way. But I think that
What was the last question? Sorry.
The question was on the, wait, I'm gonna open it up again because I closed it. So.
Oh, sorry. I think it was about like how we help like using French in professional life, right? Yeah. Well, I think I mean, all the examples were probably in the presentation when we talked about like the importance of learning French. So we are basically a tool to learn French. And also because, as we said, we are a higher education establishment connected to other higher education establishment, public universities being some among them. We also help students getting ready to enter French universities or French higher education establishments. So then to continue their studies in a specific field once they're completely comfortable in the language. So that's probably, we are at the same time a tool, but also kind of a bridge.
Okay, perfect. And we also have one final question from Rita in the chat, but this is actually for me because the question is, will we be able to watch this again and will it be saved? And the answer is yes, you will be able to watch it again because you will receive
Are you sure?
That's a good idea.
You will receive an email with a recording of this session and a link to the YouTube page to watch it again in case you missed something or you connected later, and also the important contact information to get in touch with CCFS and to ask more questions and to receive more information. So that was actually our last question. So again, before we say goodbye, I want to thank our panelists for being with us and for answering all of the questions, and also the participants for connecting, for staying with us until the end, and for all of their questions and their curiosity. So I would like to remind everyone interested in receiving a certificate of attendance by Docsity that they can do so by clicking on the link that I just sent in the chat. So you can request it by just clicking and filling out the form. And before we say goodbye, since we have a couple of minutes left, I would like to ask our panelists if they would like to leave our participants with one final message.
Yes, learn French.
Yes, we will be happy to contact you here in our institution. It's a very good opportunity to know the culture, to know the language, and to make a good experience there.
Yeah. Well, first of all, learn French, please. And second of all, learn it with the CCFS. That would be great. I mean, we'll be really happy to, I mean, we're in the administrative offices, but sometimes we have students in webinars, and then we see them when we go down to have lunch with our colleagues and everything. We're like, oh my God, we saw the students like 6 months ago through a webinar. So it's always a pleasure for us. So yeah, I don't know if there's another message rather than like just, yeah, learn a language, learn French, because French is great.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So thanks again to everyone connected, and thank you to our panelists for their presentation today. And I hope to see you again at the next webinar organized by Docsity in partnership with CCFS. So bye everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Merci,
Thank you so
au
much.
revoir.
Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.